Hello and a very warm welcome to Grow English Mastery. My name is Scarlett, and I am so glad you are with me today for a lesson that is unfolding as we speak. What happens when a war of words between two powerful men turns into an all-out war of threats? Yesterday, on July honest, the political feud we have been following escalated to a stunning, unprecedented new level. The President of the United States publicly threatened to deport one of the world's richest and most influential people, his former ally, Elon Musk. As I record this video, the U.S. Senate is in a marathon session, racing against a critical July 4th deadline for the very bill that started this entire fight. This is not just a story about the past. This is a drama that is happening right now. Today, we are going to break down this shocking new development, understand the language of threats and political conflict, and see what it means for everyone involved. Our learning goals for today are to dive into the heart of this conflict. First, we will understand the latest, most extreme chapter in the Trump-Musk feud. Second, we will learn 10 powerful vocabulary words for describing political battles and their consequences. Third, we will master 2 key grammar points: how to use reporting verbs to talk about threats and promises, and how to use conjunctions of contrast to show conflicting ideas. And finally, you'll get some great tips on how to practice these skills. This lesson will equip you to understand the dramatic headlines you see every day. The language of power can be intimidating, but we are going to make it simple and clear. So, let's get started. Let's begin with the actions that push this conflict to the boiling point. In the last few days, Elon Musk has not only continued his fierce criticism of President Trump's $5 trillion spending bill, but he has also escalated his own political ambitions. He publicly called the bill insane and told senators who support it that they should bow their heads in shame. Even more dramatically, he announced that he intends to form a new political party, which he calls the America Party, to fight against the current two-party system in the U.S. He vowed to challenge and try to remove any members of Congress who vote for the bill in the next elections. This was a direct challenge to the president's power and his agenda, and the president's response was swift and severe. Yesterday morning, on July honest, President Trump spoke to reporters and issued his most shocking threat to date. When asked about Elon Musk, he directly raised the possibility of deporting him. He said, "We will have to look into that. To deport someone means to force them to leave a country. This is an extreme threat, especially given that Elon Musk, while born in South Africa, is a naturalized American citizen." The president then brought up the government agency DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which we know was founded with Musk's help. Trump referred to it as a monster that could turn around and swallow its own creator. This was a clear reference to his plan to use DOGE to investigate and cut the billions of dollars in government contracts and subsidies that go to Musk's companies, Tesla and SpaceX. He again attacked Musk's business success, saying, "No more rockets, satellites, or electric cars, and this country would save a fortune." He also pointed out the hypocrisy. reminding everyone that Musk was a major donor to his 2024 campaign, contributing nearly $300 million, but is now attacking the president's key policies. So how did Elon Musk respond to this direct threat of deportation? On his social media platform, X, he wrote a message that was both defiant and restrained. He said he would love to escalate the argument, but would restrain himself for now. However, he then made his own position even more extreme. In response to the accusations about depending on government money, Musk declared that he now wants to cut all government subsidies, including his own. He wrote, "I really want to cut them all," insisting that his businesses do not need government support to operate. This is a significant change from his past positions and deepens the ideological battle between the two men. This all-out war is having serious, real-world consequences. First, there are reports of growing concern and infighting within the Republican Party. They are worried that this public battle between two of their most famous figures could damage the party ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Second, the economic impact was immediate. After the president's comments, Tesla's stock price dropped by more than 6%. Financial analysts are worried that if Tesla loses government support, its future plans, especially its big bet on robotaxi technology, could be in serious trouble. As one market strategist, Dennis Dick, bluntly put it, "Musk needs Trump, but Trump doesn't need Musk." Now, to better understand this high-stakes drama, let's learn some key vocabulary. Here are 10 powerful words from our story. Our first word, deport. Deport is spelled D-E-P-O-R-T. To deport someone is to force them to leave a country, especially someone who is not a citizen or who has broken the law. For example, the president threatened to deport the billionaire. He was deported from the country for committing a crime. Our second word, escalate. Escalate is spelled E-S-C-A-L-A-T-E. To escalate means to become or make something become greater, more serious, or more intense. For example, the feud between the two men continues to escalate. The protest quickly escalated into a riot. Our third word, infighting. Infighting is spelled I-N-F-I-G-H-T-I-N-G. Infighting is conflict or disagreement between members of the same group or team. For example, the feud is causing infighting within the Republican Party. Constant infighting weakened the team's performance. Our fourth word, backlash. Backlash is spelled B-A-C-K-L-A-S-H. A backlash is a strong, negative reaction from a large number of people. For example, the president's comments caused a public backlash. The company faced a backlash from customers after it raised its prices. Our fifth word, ally. Ally is spelled A-L-L-Y. An ally is a person or country that helps and supports another. For example, Musk was once a close ally of the president. It is important to have good allies in difficult times. Our sixth word, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is spelled H-Y-P-O-C-R-I-S-Y. Hypocrisy is behavior in which someone pretends to have moral standards or opinions that they do not actually have. For example, the president pointed out the hypocrisy of Musk, criticizing a bill after being a major donor. It's hypocrisy to say you care about the environment and then fly everywhere in a private jet. Our seventh word, retaliation. Retaliation is spelled retaliation. Retaliation is the act of harming someone because they have harmed you. For example, the threat to cut contracts was an act of retaliation. He was seeking retaliation for the insult. Our eighth word, subsidy. Subsidy is spelled S-U-B-S-I-D-Y. A subsidy is money given by a government to help an industry or business. For example, Musk now says he wants to cut all government subsidies. The agricultural industry receives large subsidies. Our ninth word, consequences. Consequences is spelled C-O-N-S-E-Q-U-E-N-C-E-S. Consequences are the results of an action, especially negative results. For example, the feud is having serious financial consequences for Tesla. You must be prepared to accept the consequences of your choices. And our 10th term, marathon session. Marathon session is spelled M-A-R-A-T-H-O-N-S-E-S-I-O-N. A marathon session is a meeting or event that lasts for an extremely long time. For example, the Senate is debating the bill in a marathon session. They finished the project after a marathon session of coding. These are excellent words for describing intense situations. Now, let's look at the grammar we can use to report on this drama. Our first grammar point today is using reporting verbs for threats and promises. When we report what people say, we don't always have to use say or tell. We can use more specific, powerful verbs to show the speaker's intention. Let's look at verbs for threats. The most common is to threaten to do something. Example, President Trump threatened to deport Elon Musk. Example, he threatened to cut federal contracts. This is much more powerful than saying, he said he might cut contracts. Now let's look at verbs for promises or strong intentions. We can use verbs like to vow to do something or to pledge to do something. To vow means to make a serious promise or determination. Example, Elon Musk vowed to challenge any senator who supports the bill. To pledge means to formally promise to give or do something. Example, in the past, Musk pledged his support for the president's campaign. Using these specific reporting verbs makes your language more precise and dynamic. Our second grammar point is using conjunctions of contrast. These are words we use to connect two different or opposite ideas. They are essential for showing the complexity and contradictions in a story like this one. Common conjunctions of contrast are, however, although, even though, and despite. However is used to introduce a statement that contrasts with the previous one. It usually starts a new sentence. Example, Musk was a major donor to the campaign. However, he is now one of the president's biggest critics. although and even though are used to begin a clause that contains an idea that is surprising or opposite to the main part of the sentence. Even though is a bit stronger than although. Example: although Musk says he will restrain himself, he continues to attack the bill. Example: even though he is one of the world's richest men, he is still vulnerable to political pressure. Despite is followed by a noun or a gerund, ing verb. It means without being affected by. Example: despite the president's threats, Musk has not backed down. Example: despite being a former ally, he is now a fierce opponent. These words are the key to showing complexity in your writing and speaking. To finish our lesson today, I want to share an inspirational story about a leader who took the exact opposite approach to dealing with his critics. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln and his team of rivals. When Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States in 1860, the country was on the brink of civil war. He knew he needed the best and brightest people to help him lead the nation through its darkest time. So, what did he do? He didn't surround himself with his friends and loyal supporters. Instead, he did something extraordinary. He appointed his main political rivals, the very men he had defeated, to win the presidency, to the most important positions in his cabinet. These men, like William H. Seward and Salmon P. Chase, were brilliant and powerful, but they had also been his harshest critics. They often disagreed with him. But Lincoln believed that in a time of crisis, he needed to hear dissenting opinions, not just agreement. He valued their intelligence and their different perspectives. He was strong enough and confident enough to have his ideas challenged. By bringing his rivals into his government, Lincoln forged a strong, unified team from a group of ambitious and conflicting personalities. This team of rivals helped him navigate the immense challenges of the Civil War and, ultimately, to save the nation. Lincoln's story is a powerful lesson in leadership. It shows that true strength is not found in silencing or threatening your critics, but in having the wisdom and confidence to listen to them. Today's lesson has been a whirlwind. Let's summarize what we have learned. First, we followed the shocking escalation in the feud between Trump and Musk, which has now reached the point of a public threat of deportation. Second, we learned 10 powerful vocabulary words to describe this conflict, including deport, escalate, infighting, and backlash. Third, we mastered 2 key grammar points, using reporting verbs like threaten and vow to show intention, and using conjunctions of contrast like however and despite to connect opposing ideas. This ongoing story is a powerful reminder of how quickly political landscapes can change. By learning the language to describe these events, you are empowering yourself to be an active and informed observer of the world. Thank you so much for your focus and for joining me today at Grow English Mastery. If you found this lesson helpful and interesting, please let us know in the comments. And please, don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting lessons that bring the news to life. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson. Goodbye for now.